Hey y'all, what's up? It's Sideralis Music here, and I'm back after quite a bit. These videos would have came out a little bit sooner, but I've been sick for the past couple days or so. So sorry about that, but we are back, and we're going to be getting into specifically the how the V23 changes affect the builds that we have already gone over so far. So we're going to jump right into that. The biggest change for Warrior is that the Warrior tank, not really a thing anymore because, as you can see, as I went over in my last video, when I went over the entire changelog for V23 in depth, the adamantine and pervium boots, they no longer, or I'm sorry, the armor set no longer has its bonus ability of minus 90% damage reduction, which was pretty broken to be fair. So you can play tank style still, and there's several good armor sets that you can do, and I'll go over them, as well as you can, of course, use the Phalanx War Tome still. But there's a lot of these sets that don't have their abilities anymore because they were kind of broken, but instead they do get improved armor and armor toughness, and it looks like they have pretty decent knockback resistance as well. So some other armors that you can try for just warrior tanking will be the Warden set, because it gives really good knockback toughness. It still gives pretty good armor and armor toughness. The big thing about the Warden set is that the Warden helmet itself is going to be giving blindness immunity. So that's pretty cool, and you get that knockback resist. There is Dragon Scale armor. Jeez, if my hands can be in the right position on the keyboard. Is it Dragon Scale or how? Yeah, Dragon Scale. So there is Dragon Scale armor, which offers quite a bit of armor and armor toughness. And the cool thing about that is that you can build an Elytra into the chestplate itself, so that you can have both of those. And then there's going to be a lot of the MC Story Mode armor sets, like this one. Let's see if I can find other ones. That's Gabriel's, Golden Goliath. Maybe on the next page. Yeah, the Shield of Infinity, one of the sets where their bonus got disabled, but they got boosted stats. So you can try for these sets, and you can mix and match because they no longer have a bonus ability added for wearing a full set. But the big thing about these are that you can also no longer get them from blacksmith villagers when completing a raid. As a matter of fact, they are loot only now. So you can only get lucky enough to find them as loot. So yeah, that's about the best that you can do as a warrior tank. The other big thing was that strength is 2% attack damage now instead of flat, as well as dexterity. It gives you 2% range damage now instead of flat. So that's kind of a huge change for archer and warrior, and it's going to make weapons like these, like the one-handed weapons and two-handed weapons that deal more damage, especially at in-game later on. It's going to make the differences between them a lot more prevalent, and it's really going to make you choose between those play styles. So has some more disparity between different types of weapons, which is good in my opinion. So, and yes, if you do want to get flat strength, flat damage, so that the 2% damage can start scaling, because in order for a percentage to actually add to your attack damage, you have to have some sort of base attack damage there in the first place. So there is stuff that can help with that, which like the strength effect gives flat attack damage. So like Berserker's Fury can help with that and stuff. So same with Archer. Dex actually only works on... Wait. Dex is only going to work on like physical bows now, because they have like a ranged attack, or a flat ranged damage stat attached to them. So I've added the way that there are like two ways to build Archer now. There's actually the physical damage way, and then there's going to be a frost damage way, and I'll go over why that change takes place. The main reason is because Dex is a percentage now, and the Frostbow, or sorry, not the Frostbow, the Hailstorm Spellbow. It says in the offhand it gives +6 range damage, and I've talked to the dev about this, and this is intended. The Hailstorm Spellbow does not actually work in the offhand. And I think the reason this was made is so that the Hailstorm Spellbow could still count as a bow. But yes, you have to build it completely off of... because Dex is a percentage now, you have to build it completely off of Frost spell power. So if you're going to build the Hailstorm Spellbow, it's going to be all Frost. So you're just going to be doing that 50 points in luckiness, and then you're going to be going after Frost spell power relics with a... well, you might not need, because of spell volatility, you might not actually need a ranged crit chance relic, but you do need the Frost spell power relics so that you can have this Spellbow. And of course, you would want all 5. I just showed the rings here because I didn't really feel like spawning any... I didn't really feel like hunting for any more of the, Frost relics when spawning a whole bunch in at one time. But now you can also build Dex Bow, and it's really powerful. And I will go over why that is, because there's actually a couple different reasons. But if you're going to build Dex Bow, you're actually going to do the Archer's Armor, and that gives you 1.5, when you have the full set, it gives you 1.5 times damage on your projectiles. And then there's a lot of good bows that you can choose throughout your playthrough. Bows that you can find that have greater stats than whatever you can craft, etc. When you get to Obsidiolith, it only drops 2 different bows. I tend to prefer the Haunted Bow because it comes with bonus shot. But it also drops, I think, the Bow of... Does it drop the Bow of Lost Souls? I think that's the one it also drops. It can drop like 2 different bows. You might have to farm it for a bit. But yeah, those are the 2 different bows it can drop. So, and then if you're going to do enchants on that bow, I believe I have them here. Mending, Life Mending. Then you're going to want to do Endless Quiver. It's like Infinity, except it works with all arrows. Oh, and I need to show you what arrows you're going to use too. Overcharge 4, I would definitely use that. But if you find Overcharge 4 is not working for you, you can always use Power 4, which I have, or Power 6 rather, which I have right here. And then we have Fuse Shot, which adds a chance for arrows to explode on impact. Bonus Shot. You fire an extra projectile towards your target. Now, there is multi-shot for bows, but it's very finicky on how it works because it, like, considers how far away you are from the mob. It considers how many mobs are in the area, and very often I cannot get it to like trigger. It triggers on very specific circumstances, so that's why I actually prefer bonus shot over multi-shot. Especially because bonus shot can have, you can use ricochet with bonus shot. The arrow bounces from target to target. And of course, chain reaction, a chance to fire extra projectiles from the target with an arrow. And those extra projectiles are going to go north, south, east, and west. So yeah, you can clear out a lot of mobs with this combo. And then there's tempo theft, which is really nice because that can help with your speed. There's cobweb shot, which helps with kiting because it just sticks enemies in cobwebs. It's actually really effective on something like the warden, if the warden is chasing you. And then of course there's flame. And these enchants are pretty much in order from priority to least priority. There's the Thundering Quiver, which you can right click, and then you'll have arrows that call down lightning when they hit a target for a limited amount of time. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, as you can see here, that would be a crazy relic to have, giving you both the dexterity and the extra bit of crit damage on top of it. And then this one also gives you dexterity. Yeah, I just went with this one, gives me the plus 24% ranged crit chance, which that would be my crit chance relic. And then 35% dexterity, 44% dexterity. So you want percent dexterity relics with one ranged crit chance relics if you're building Dex Bow. And the difference between Dex Bow and Hailstorm is that this works more like a sniper. This works more like a machine gun. So the other reason that you can build Dex Bow like super effectively now, like even more effectively, is because of this origin right here, Wood Elf. So Wood Elf's arrows are automatically more deadly, so Wood Elf gets natural bonus to arrows. That's pretty cool. Has Forest Vision, which they can see clearly at night if you're in a forest. So I think if you're in a forest, you get like night vision or something like that. Eagle Eye means that if you hit an enemy, I believe they will glow. So yeah, that actually does help with keeping track of enemies, especially when playing like Archer class. They are slightly taller. You can't digest meat, so eat a lot of bread and apples. Let's see. Yeah, you have to have featherweight. If you're gonna wear armor that's heavier than iron, you need the featherweight enchantment. But you typically shouldn't have to worry about that with the archer build. The cool thing is that you are less powerful with most weapons in the game, but you have slightly faster attack speed. So I think that complements Wood Elf really well and makes sense, like lore-wise. So I really like that. That's a really nice touch. And it gives you like a melee option to fall back on. So in case you want to fight something like the Returning Knight or the Fallen Icon / Harbinger of Moonlight, you can use a Greater Orb of Regret to take all of your points out. You can respec into luck and strength just for that fight, and then you can finish off the boss, and then you can use another Greater Orb of Regret to change back to your normal Dex Bow build. Because the Returning Knight and the Harbinger of Moonlight are immune to projectiles. So this ability right here is what makes Wood Elf so good, though. After charging for a few seconds, you release an arrow at tremendous velocity, piercing enemies, flying further, and dealing significantly more damage. Now, I tested this with like no stats on my character, and Wood Elf was able to make a regular arrow with a regular bow go from like dealing, I think it was like 20 damage to like 60 something damage at full focus bar. So that's why, Wood Elf is kind of like a sniper, and they're better for the Dexbow build. And then the class Archer is, because it has slightly more base damage, I believe, than Wood Elf. It's able to deal just slightly more damage with Hailstorm. So Archer ends up being better with Hailstorm, while Wood Elf ends up being the sniper. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So those are all the changes, I believe, to Archer. And then, of course, those were the changes to Warrior. Now, big change for casters. So, all the magic stats were pretty much changed, including intelligence. So, intelligence now gives you 0.2% spell haste, meaning you cast spells faster. It does not give you any damage anymore. And then these now give you 2.5% each of spell critical damage and spell power in your respective element. Although, for whatever reason, the healing specialization doesn't show what it does. It does give you more healing when you have some sort of flat healing to go off of. And yeah, you would need something with, you would need a way to get flat, fire, frost, arcane healing in order to start gaining in these elements here. But that's not all that's really changed. So the way I would probably build a caster is just putting, my points in luck as per normal. Specifically, if you're going to go fire, you actually only need to put 30 points into luckiness, and you can actually put 70 points into fire. The other schools of magic, you might want to do a little bit more into luckiness, just because it doesn't get as much crit chance as fire. But honestly, that's okay. It's not really a big deal. But you probably wouldn't put all 70 points into fire because you want to cast spells fast. If you want to cast spells faster, then you would end up putting like 35 points into fire and maybe 35 points into intelligence. Or maybe you would end up putting less points into intelligence and you'd prioritize fire a little bit more. You would have to play around with it to see what sort of casting speed is comfortable for you. But yeah, that's what you would essentially be doing, is that you would be, getting your luckiness hammered out. You would decide you would decide how many points you want to put into luckiness. And then while leveling up, luckiness, you would probably be leveling up fire a bit. And then you would have to decide how many points you want to put in intelligence as well and level them all periodically. But yeah, you would likely, for caster builds, you would likely just be splitting your points between intelligence and whatever element you have chosen with your points into luckiness. Now, another big thing is that wands are actually just inherently more powerful. They also give 25% spell haste. So, what do I mean by inherently more powerful? Well, I'm not sure if they did gain more spell power or not, but I know their base spell deals more damage now. A wand's frostbolt deals more damage than the Frostbolt from. Yeah, it deals more damage than the Frostbolt from the book. And wands can't have books. I actually realized that they only staves are going to be able to have books and cast more spells. Wands only have bolt spells, and they're probably going to be used for another build that I'm going to be calling the Spellguard. And of course, each one is going to have their different names. So we're going to have Cryoguard, Pyroguard, and I'm going to be calling it the Mystic Guard for Arcane. And then for Holy, I'll call them the Holy Guard. But yeah, and they'll basically run around with a shield and a wand. And that's going to be their whole thing and their whole build. So they only have one spell, but they can attack kind of fast. They'll basically be known as Pew Pew. Because that's pretty much what they'll be doing. I mean, it'll be like a giant Roman candle fight, which don't actually do that in real life. That's actually like super dangerous. Don't do that. But yeah, that's basically what it'll be. And then I haven't percent intelligence here, but you're gonna be wanting to put stuff in. You're gonna want to be really probably just putting stuff into your element. So like if you're going fire, you're gonna want percent fire, frost, percent frost, arcane, percent arcane. And those are the relics that you're actually going to want. I don't think you're going to want percent intelligence, unless you really want to cast, like, stupidly fast. But you just got to consider, like, is it worth the amount of damage you're sacrificing to cast a spell that fast? So you're going to have to kind of experiment and see what you want. And there still is the build where you can put either most or all of your points into an element and just slap, Void Strike on one of the weapons, like the blades that can have Void Strike, and then depend on Void Strike for, like, just a lot of your damage. So there's that as well. But yeah, that's kind of the big changes to casters are the wands, the intelligence change, and the stat change here for the different elements. So I guess moving on to spell blades, not much has changed really. You're still going to be doing percent strength. You're still going to be doing Titan's Shroud. And I mean, unless you're going to build it like a caster and just cast with the blades and be a Spellsword, yeah, Battlemage builds haven't really changed all that much besides their inherent attack damage. And I guess their inherent attack damage also means that there's more of a difference between Claymores and Spellblades now. And for Frost, the Frostborn Gavel. So, there is something that I need to mention for War Dancer, and that is the Flame Source Book. If you're going to use fire to fight a boss, you're probably going to want to place a target dummy down, which is this thing way over here. This right here is a target dummy. It's pretty easy to craft. You can see how to craft it in the REI. But you place that down. You cast Rising Flames about, I think, 15 to 20 times. And then you can consume that all to get Tempered Flame. And with Broken Watch, you have Tempered Flame for about 43 seconds, I think. And that makes your fire spells and fire, magic basically just completely go through fire immunity and fire resistance, so that you can actually deal damage to bosses with fire. So that's one thing that War Dancer can also utilize is that book. And it could always utilize that book. I just forgot about it, to be completely honest. So yeah, that's pretty much all the changes to the build so far. There really isn't that much, and these phantoms are dying and dropping stuff. But yeah, the next build we're going to go over is the Spirit Sword, which is one of the legendary magic builds. And I did a lot of testing, and both of these builds are very powerful. Both of them can actually just straight up delete Sideralis, which is the final boss in the game, hardest boss in the game, which it's not really hard when you have like a full maxed build. But, and I'm pretty sure the rogue builds can do it as well. But, I have confirmed that the Spirit Sword build can deal more DPS than the Starforge build, so Starforge has been dethroned. But the big thing about the Spirit Sword build is that in order to do damage with any bosses, you have to do that casting of the Rising Flames, and then getting the Tempered Flame buff, on the target dummy before fighting a boss in order to get your proper setup. So if you don't want to do a setup, you can do that. But technically, this build with that setup is the most powerful build in the game right now. So, and Spirit Sword's also kind of fun. So that's going to be the next video. I know this one's kind of shorter than my normal videos, but it was just going over the changes to the current build so far, so that everyone would understand how stuff works right now. And the next builds, of course, are going to be in V23. So I will see you guys later. Bye.